Live. Okay.
Yeah, we're on live now. Good afternoon, Mamos TV viewers. You are watching Mamos TV live. This is our special edition. We're here today because of the inauguration of President-elect Adama Barrow, who will be sworn in today, later on this afternoon, in Dakar, Senegal, at the Gambian Embassy. This is a historical day for the people of the Gambia, the coalition, and friends of the Gambia and the world in general, because for the first time in history, in the history of the Gambia saw a dictatorship that has lasted over 22 years. The Gambian people were able to vote out Jammeh through a democratic process. Since this event happened, things have not gone smoothly. Gambia has faced, I think, the most trying time of its small history, when Jammeh has refused to come down. And we have quite a few panelists here today. We're going to discuss some of these issues, try to get into the mind of Jammeh and see what is making him not step down. We have different activists, political activists, gender activists, friends of the Gambia. We'll also link up later on with Senegal, with the press team there, the presidential press team there, and come up with a little bit of coverage of the actual inauguration in Senegal on the ground. Now, I have quite a few panelists here in the Mamos TV studio. We have Turin Berg, who is also a political activist in Norway here, very, very much active in writing articles and making adding her voice to especially to the human rights violations that have taken place in the Gambia. I also have Maimuna C here, who's also a gender activist. She's not a new face on Mamos TV, obviously. She's always with us discussing the humanitarian crisis. She's also a sex expert and a gender expert. So she's been on the Nene show before as well, explaining certain areas of that. We have, of course, Ndeye Jobate, who will also join us later. Ndeye is also a political activist. She was coordinating and leading the diaspora aspect of Dr. Aissatou Touré's presidential campaign, whilst Ami was in charge of the ground team in the Gambia. She's also now still very much working extensively with the coalition to make sure that at least the social media and the media aspect of the campaign is controlled and doing well. I have, of course, Inge-Lisa Lee, and we know she is a writer, also not new on Mamos TV at all. She's been on the Nene show several times. She's also a political friend to the Gambia and has in the past visited Gambia, researching the Gambia, very much interested in Gambians as a people, and has even written a letter to the President Jammeh once regarding certain issues from her point of view. So we also have her also later on in the studio. We hope to connect up with Amadou Scattered Janneh, who was also a member of Jammeh's cabinet later, and now he is an activist, a political activist, heading the Wato Sita campaign, which was a campaign also to make sure that Jammeh comes down. We'll also have Ibu Jallo. Ibu Jallo is very, very controversial. A lot is said about him. He'll also add his voice later on in terms of why he was supporting Mama Kandeh, and he was an earlier member also of, I think, a spokesman for the APRC regime. So it's going to be an exciting evening or afternoon evening. So keep watching on Mamos TV. I'm your presenter, Nene B. Turin. Turin, welcome to Mamos TV.
Thank you for inviting me.
Today is a big day in the history of the Gambia.
Yes.
Yes. How do you feel right now, being a friend, an activist, a writer on issues pertaining to Gambia?
First of all, I never thought I would be part of it like I am. It's very exciting. It's a historical moment. It's the same. I think you can put it together with 1965. This is a very big moment when Gambia got the freedom.
Yes.
Now they get the freedom again.
That's a good one. Yes.
So this is a big day.
Yes.
And it's a joyous day. I'm very happy, but I'm very scared.
Yes.
Because of the situation in the Gambia.
Yeah. Thank you. Maimuna, Turin just compared today to 1965. It's as if we're liberated once again. 22 years of dictatorship. Or was it dictatorship? Because we've seen people on the streets, we've seen people in the parliaments actually supporting Jammeh. We've seen people defying him, yes, resigning, but we've seen also people saying that they want Jammeh to stay, saying Jammeh forever. Was it a dictatorship?
It was a dictatorship. That is not something to be contested. It was a dictatorship that lasted for 22 years. I wasn't born in 1965. But to be honest with you, when Jammeh took over in 1994, it was so liberating because I've lived the PPP regime, and I always keep on repeating that. And when Jammeh came, we were all optimistic. It was just like today. I can remember the day. I was still young. It was my last day at high school. And I was so excited as a young person with all the message and the optimism that it brought. The hope for a new Gambia, the hope for the young people. That is what I can compare it to today. And I hope that, because on the way we lost all the hope, and then it turned to a dictatorship. And we've been living, I think, like I said yesterday, it's just been dragged too far and too long. And seeing these bells of liberation ringing today, it's really something very exciting.
Absolutely.
And we look forward to be part of this day today, the historic day.
Yeah. Turid, Maimuna touched a little bit on the Gambian people. A lot was lost when Jammeh came in. A young soldier came in with his ruling council, saying an end to dictatorship before, and what was it, transparency. He had accountability. He said all the right things. But then along the way, as Maimuna said, a lot went lost. What's your take on that?
Well, you know, when you meet new people and they promise you a lot of things, you're always skeptical.
Yeah.
But I think people just forgot to be skeptical. But it took only 6 months before some people started to question
Jammeh.
Yeah. And unfortunately, they were right.
But 6 months, 22 years.
It's, I don't have no explanation on how that is. I don't understand how people could have been defending him all these years. From 95, with the first minister killed, journalists.
Who was that
killed.
first minister killed?
I forgot his name.
Was it not Koro Sise?
Journalists disappearing, killed, union leaders disappearing or going in exile, and then the list goes on. And even people who were not political activists also disappeared. We don't know how many Gambians actually have been disappeared. That's the most scary thing. And during all these years, these things happening, Gambia is so small. Everybody heard about it. Everybody knew. And still they were defending. Yeah, I don't, for me who grown up in Norway and lived here, it's very, very hard to put my mind into how that has been going on.
Maimuna, how would you assess the Gambian people? Because people who have left, for example, the first regime, the first republic was in for 30 years, and then the second regime, 22 years. How would you assess what is it with the nature of Gambian people that they do not question their leaders?
It takes Gambian a long time before they start questioning things. Because I could remember when Jammeh came and we started seeing this brutality. We started seeing Sana Sabali acting in the way he was acting. That he owned the road when he was brutality actually started. And then people did not want to believe it. It wasn't Jammeh, it's people behind Jammeh who were responsible for what was happening. And then we started trying to legitimate what he was doing.
That he was a good leader.
He was a good leader, but it's the people surrounding him that are not good. And we should be very careful not to make that same mistake again with the new government that we are getting. Because that was the same mistake we made with PPP. That Jawara was a good leader, but it was the people surrounding Jawara who were the bad people. And that you could remember, Nene. That was just how Jawara was justified and everything that was going on with the PPP regime. And then came Jammeh, the same story continued. Before people realized that, oh, actually, and even yesterday, I had somebody on this radio station saying that Aisha Tunjai said he's a good person because sometimes he has even stopped some actions that Jammeh wanted to take.
Okay.
How can you say that? Because I think that is the Gambian thing, that we don't accept our reality. We keep on denying for a long time. We live on denial for a long time.
But don't you think, Maimuna, it has something to do with education as well? If we're going to analyze it, we have to analyze it in terms of the time that the PPP regime came. How many people were actually educated in the Gambia to be able to question the PPP for those 30 years? Those children now, you are the children of the PPP now, that are well educated and can now set questions. Is that the reason? But Jammeh's era, they're now, people are 22 years old, the first people that are born, educated now, finished high school, hopefully with their first degrees. But still, you know what I'm trying to say, 30 years, 22 years, it's a long time.
Nene, and it takes time. It's the mindset. And it takes time to change that. That's what I believe in. Because what I was saying, something that Jammeh, the good thing Jammeh have done to us Gambian people is to make us politically aware. That level of political awareness wasn't there during the PPP regime. But for the past 22 years, especially with the development of social media and the diaspora engagement in things happening in Gambia, it's like many people are now politically aware and I start questioning things, even the old generation. And now, when Halifa Saleh came onto national TV, came to GRTS, and talked about during the campaign, and talked about the economic situation in the Gambia, and tried to break it down, many people could understand it. I talked to people my mother's age, who were telling me that, okay, now we understand. When Halifa Saleh broke it down in this way, then we understood. Nene, I can remember, Halifa Saleh has been talking about this for many years. But then,
you didn't understand it.
I understood it. For one reason. I used to joke about it that I want to get married to Halifa when I was young. Yes, it was true. I'm right. I was obsessed with him. But it was
because he was so intelligent.
He was so intelligent. You know, and then he had this big afro. And it was just mystic for Gambian people. He was like at that level. And I used to say, Halifa should come down to the level of the Gambian people. He was above them. No one could understand. Intellectually. No one could understand. When he started talking about the economic situation, when Jammeh started building these schools, and he tried to explain to us that these schools are on loan. It's on rented money. And then it's going to affect us later. No one understood. No one understood.
But you had the political awareness before. People were under Jawara, people were organizing, they had youth clubs, they knew how to organize things, the unions were active, they had a good connection within the Commonwealth, and all those things are gone. That is something that has gone during Jammeh,
Jammeh regime.
because he didn't want it. He didn't want people to learn how to organize, nothing. And the way he treated the union and the union leaders, he took over power from all the unions, and that is not a free union. But under Jawara, they were free. He was not controlling the union. So there were political awareness. So I'm like, I agree with you, but I don't totally agree with you.
Yeah, there was political awareness, but it was like when we talk about women, when we talk about activity, women's activity during the Jawara regime, there was a lot of women who were engaged in the PPP, who were even the head of the CI campaigns, that we call them. But they had no functions. Their functions was like organizing, but it was more like social. And we thought it was political. Most of it was social. They were just the cheerleaders. They were put behind or in front. You know what I mean? They would be placed in front and things would happen. But when it comes to deciding at the decision level, they had no power. And it was just like the union leaders. They were not a threat to Jawara. So it was just okay that they were there. I admired the union, the trade union, the price control and everything that was there during Jawara, and with Jammeh it's gone.
Jammeh has over the 22 years. He tries to talk about the development that he's brought into the country in terms of the television, the hospitals that are built, his television, the hospitals that are built, the schools. I remember specifically when we went to file a complaint at the level of the United Nations, and one of our NGOs that we're working with in Norway, and we had the pleasure to sit with one of his ambassadors, Tangara, and he's the second secretary. And they informed us that Jammeh has made education free for girls. So all the ladies and the children are now being educated, that I should forget about FGM and the problems about it and think about the positive things that Jammeh brought to the government. Do you think that he actually participated anything positive to the Gambia in these past 22 years?
No. Simple answer. No. Because if it was another president and if it was a democracy, the whole country would have been totally different. Compare it to the development in Norway. We have changed a lot during these 22 years. When it comes to gender and women issues, the way we see the world, our education level, the quality of our apartments and our houses and our homes in Norway. Everything has developed.
But you have oil. Gambia has the resources. Does Gambia have the resources? Can we compare Gambia to the Gambia?
Sweden don't have oil, and they have developed, and it goes for all countries. The reason why Gambia has not developed is because there's been a dictator there, and the dictator spent the money on himself. If you got millions and you're spending just a few lousy dollars to build a small road that is not even good, how is that going to justify everything else? Where is all the money? I don't even want to think about how many billions
is spent on his
gone. Gone. How many hospitals, schools, roads, how many things he could have done? Even the electricity, still today, on and off. Internet, the access, the phone lines, it's like...
So the development was not good enough. There's nothing...
There is a difference between... You know what Jammeh did was, I was a teacher in Gambia myself. And when Jammeh started building all these schools, it's not about how many schools you build. It's about the number of the resource you have to run these schools after building these schools. We live in Oslo. You even see the resource fordeling. How do you divide these resources? When you build these schools, it's not about the structure itself.
No,
it's no use building a school in the middle of nowhere in Gambia for only 10 students, and the quality, when they come out, those students, now there is a mass production of students in Gambia.
Yeah.
They come out every year. And then, Nene, let's be honest,
Yeah.
in which part of the world do you see 1,000 people sitting there saying that we are graduating today as law students or whatever? Mass graduations. But what is the quality? You wouldn't, not only the job, but what is the quality that Jammeh is producing? There is a mass production, yes, that is what people see as development.
Yeah.
And even when you come to the Gambia today, they are telling you that everything has changed, we have shopping centers. Who are building those shopping centers? It's not Jammeh. It's private sector, it's people. So the development is more private sector, individual based than the government.
And another thing that you mentioned earlier, I know you've been interested in trying to find a state budget for the Gambia. When you researched, was it available online?
No, I've been doing it for 6 weeks, trying to find the state budget, and it's very hard.
And that's not normal, because this is something that is a public document. It should be available.
In a democracy, it's public.
Yes.
And I finally found one person who sent me an email saying, I got the state budget. I'm going to receive it soon, and I will send it to you. And I was like, yay! Finally. He sent me the budget speech.
That's
That
the one
is
that
not-
I was just going to ask. Yeah.
That is not the budget.
No, that was the budget speech.
And people are talking about the budget speech as a budget. And that is not the state budget. The state budget needs to be broken down. You need to see the plan. How much money are you going to spend on different things
Yes.
to the last final dime?
Yes.
Afterwards, I was laughing at myself, saying I'm pretty naive thinking that a dictator is going to actually have a state budget that is official and people can see what he's doing. So I was a little bit too naive and actually.
But Turin, when you said you researched for this document in 6 weeks, are you trying to say that there was no previous years as well? Like there was nothing from like 2015, 2014, nothing at all?
I didn't ask for it, but nobody offered it either.
Okay.
But I got interested because I was listening to Khalifa Saleh when he was talking about all this money. So I was like, yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
And I want to know what is the new government, what do they have? How much money? How are they going to do their job? So that's why I wanted to get to know it.
Maimuna,
So-
are they in Turin's question, the coalition, have they inherited a bankrupt Gambia? How are they going to bring development to the Gambia?
I think they've inherited a very heavily indebted Gambia.
Yeah.
That is just a fact. And it's like, now what do we do? How do we put heads together, resources that they have available? Like you said, Khalifa Saleh, they have the coalition, they have very intelligent people. They have people who can do this both in the Gambia and outside the Gambia. It's just like how to tap on these resources. How do we work together? Because now it's the time, like we said, Ligay Jotna. We said it in when Gambia became independent, a republic. Then that song, Gambia, Ligay Jotna, Gambia Amna Bopam. And I think it's another Ligay Jotna again, because we have a lot of work to do. There is a lot of work to do. And I think Gambian would be surprised when they go into the finances, actually the real figures, and see that actually what we were talking about development, it's no development. There is nothing actually. We have to start from scratch.
Yes, absolutely. Because I remember one politician once quoted that Jammeh has set Gambia back over 10 decades, you know what I'm trying to say, in terms of development and getting things right. But do you believe that this new coalition will get it right in 3 years, realistically?
Oh, no, you cannot do this in 3 years.
No.
But the work ahead for the nation, because this is nothing that the coalition can do on their own.
No.
Every Gambian, both in Gambia and in diaspora, need to do their part, and they need to be patient. really, really patient. You can't expect a new country next year this time or in 3 years, because it's so many problems, and the main problem is that there is no functioning state structure at all, and you need to start building that. And that work is going to take many, many years. This is just the beginning. It's a transitional government.
But what would you then expect? What do you truly expect to see from this transitional government?
I expect, first of all, a state budget.
A state budget?
Yes. To be transparent.
Transparency.
They need to be transparent so people can trust them. Because you have to gain, if people are going to participate, you need to gain people's trust. And the only reason by that is being honest and transparent.
How have they been so far? They've been in opposition. I mean, they've been a shadow cabinet in that sense since they took over at least since they won the elections in December. Are you satisfied with the rollout and the information that's coming out? Have they been transparent so far?
I'm thinking that they have been smart.
They've been smart.
They have been smart because they couldn't say anything. Because with that, excuse the language, lunatics sitting in the State House, if they gave away one thing in public for him, he would go after them. So for them to, I think it's smart of them. But we are not used to it. Like you have in America, a new president, they come out and say the next day what they're going to do.
Yeah.
This is not the same situation at all.
But
This is not a normal
situation. Are you
situation.
satisfied with the way they've handled the crisis?
Yeah, I think they've been smart. This is intelligent people. They know who they are dealing with. They know this man and they know his people. They know exactly. And when Barrow went to Mali and then didn't come back, the minute he left, it was like, he's not coming back. You knew that.
You knew that Barrow wasn't coming back.
Yeah.
But I think, didn't that confuse the audience? Because I got audio sent to me, one poor Mandinka woman, and in the audio she was saying that she was very worried. She said, oh my God, Jammeh has said that Mandinkas will be sent back to Mali. Look, he sent our president back to Mali. So do you know what I'm trying to say? So some people, the grassroots, did they understand what was happening? They just saw ECOWAS and suddenly they're president in Mali. And Jammeh had been threatening all the time. So...
But you know, people don't have access to information like we do.
Yeah.
So I understand them that they are very concerned. And it's easy for us to sit here in peace and quiet and analyze things. But when you're living in the countryside in Gambia,
and you just hear that your president
and you
is
hear
Mali.
rumors and you don't know, it's not easy. It's not easy, and many of these elderly people maybe never went to school. They don't have this experience. So it's understandable. Of course you get scared. You are thinking that now finally with peace, democracy, and then your president, who's not, was the president elected at the time.
Interesting enough, it was Mali.
Disappears.
Yes.
And you see Jonas use that.
Yeah.
He uses every little detail he can get.
Yeah.
And he uses it. So that's why nobody can say and do anything unless he's gone.
Yeah.
When he's gone, people are going to see a different thing.
Thank you. Maimuna, the rollout of the coalition, individually, are you satisfied, and what do you think the Gambian people should expect of this coalition?
What I would just like to support what Turan said there, because I think they've been strategic and they've been very smart in dealing with the situation. What we should remember, these days there are many queries about people. Not everyone is satisfied with the coalition so far, but we should remember that they've been acting on a very extreme circumstances. And it is so amazing how they survive these 60 days of Jammeh. I never thought they would do it, because it is extreme condition that they've been dealing with. And a person, you know Jammeh, the kind of Jammeh, who, how many head of states have been there to Gambia to convince this man to come down?
It's unbelievable.
It's like the whole world is just surrounding one individual, and no one can convince him that it makes sense to leave. And for us, it's so easy. How don't you? We have to go into his mind.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Yeah, but go into his mind. Who is Jammeh?
Who is Jammeh?
Yeah.
Why is he just hanging on?
Yeah.
Like right now, we're saying that he's in State House. So what? What are you doing there? What is he thinking? We cannot think like him, because we think that sometimes you think that you are stupid. Well, why am I so stupid? Why can't I just understand?
Yeah.
But we cannot understand, because we are not, excuse my language, we are not psychopaths. So it's difficult to go into the mind of a psychopath and then try to see how.
But what does that tell of Gambian people? That this is the type of leader that they've allowed in power for 22 years. If you've just analyzed this man as a psychopath, if we go into the dictionary, that is somebody who is not.
Yeah, but that is why he's been there. Well. That is why he's been there, because he doesn't mean anything of what he's saying. And what Gambians created Jammeh.
Yes.
That is what happened. We created our own Jammeh.
Yeah.
And Jammeh, as the psychopath that he is, he goes, instead of Gambians going into the mind of Jammeh, Jammeh has learned to go into the mind of Gambians and know how they think, and then just say what they want. Like Nene, let's talk about women. When Jammeh knew that it is these women that are the electorate.
Yes.
When these women support you, then you win. Last year, was it 2 years ago? Then he was so hard on women about the skin bleaching thing. When he saw that it was not favorable for him, have you ever seen Jammeh turning back? He turned back. He came back and then said, "Track that back." He took it back. And then he said, I would never do anything that would hurt women, because they are my best friends.
But that's the same Jammeh that was talking about the private parts of women.
The private
saying
parts of
women,
that there are places that you cannot bleach.
Yes.
It is the same Jammeh. And it is the same Jammeh that is seeing women and children these past days women running away with their kids out of Gambia because they are so scared. And he never responds to anything. He's just closed his eyes. He doesn't even mention it anywhere in his speeches. So it was the same Jammeh that loved women, that cared for women. So we created him, and then he learned to go into the minds of women, to the Gambian populace, and just try to manipulate people for the past years. That is why he has been there for the past 22 years. Why would someone vote for Jammeh? Why would they? And an interesting article that Inge Anna Olsen wrote when she was in Gambia. I don't know how many of you read this article, but these women said that they were not voting because they wanted to vote opposition, and then when they don't vote Jammeh, then they would be banned. You wouldn't produce kids anymore.
Really?
Yes, that was what it was in that article. And because of that, they stayed away from voting. They never voted because they believe that Jammeh has some supernatural powers which made that when you vote, which would make them barren if they don't vote for Jammeh. And that is just nonsense. But they believe in that. And when Jammeh sat down there on national TV saying that how many people did not vote, I was like, thank yourself for that. Because you mystified yourself, and some of this mystification comes back to haunt you. That is what happened. That was just how I analyze it. Because that was what happened. These women, they just thought that now, when we vote opposition, we would be barren. We would not produce kids anymore. So the best thing is to stay at home. Who created that? He created it. And it came back to haunt him.
Maimuna, you heard, she said Jammeh is a psychopath. Who is Jammeh? How do you see him? How would you analyze this man?
Oh my God. we have been trying to analyze him and figure him out for a long time, and it's just frustrating. But it also always tells me that I'm very normal. My reactions towards his saying and his doings, when I get angry or frustrated and people get angry and frustrated, that means that we are normal people. But to understand him, I think that that's for some shrinks to do, because I don't get it, except that I know that everything he is doing is for himself, not for Gambia or not for his family. It's only himself. He's got a wife and a kid, 2 kids or 3, but I don't think he's doing things for them. For him, it's only about him.
It's
And
even
that's-
strange that you've never seen them in any public function.
Yeah. But it's only about him.
It's
Everything
only
is about him.
Yeah,
So it's, I'm thinking to stay sane. I try to analyze him not too much, because it takes my time.
Yeah, we've just there's been a little bit of interaction with the audience on. So we look at some of the comments and then see that maybe things that they want you to respond to. Sekou Toure, well done, Nene Bojang, happy birthday. Thank you there. Exactly, Abdullah Sise was agreeing. Exactly, that is true to both of what your commentaries. To talk Sister Mai, Lamin Jame was bad from the get-go, not only the people surrounding him. Morikeba Koli, education an issue, but mainly its lack of jobs and poverty. Siraso, I'm watching. Morikeba Koli, Halifa Saleh wasn't understood by Gambians. They agreed with you. Musa Fofana Bansang says Jawara's government was one of the best in Africa because of its respect for human rights, rule of law, and there was a good life, and there was no tribalism, neither killing people or detention of people. We know that the coup that took place in the 80s, was there any human rights violations there?
Yeah, I think so. I was very young,
Yeah.
but from history, it wasn't free of human rights violations, I think. That would be very naive to say. And then many people were sent on exile. Even though we are not talking about Jawara today, but it's just good to set the record straight.
Yes,
We are not
because
naive again.
Yes.
Because
So was it
history keeps
a
repeating
perfect?
itself.
Yes.
People
Was it-
were sent on exile.
Yeah.
There are people who were sent on exile because of speaking against Jawara.
Yes.
Because
And did anybody who was against the PPP, did they get jobs in the PPP regime?
and jobs and even scholarships.
Yeah.
It is believed that the PPP, they made these scholarships available to everyone, and people were competing on the same level grounds. It wasn't.
No.
It wasn't. We experienced ministers' kids being driven in to school in these luxurious cars, whilst others did not have the same opportunity. It wasn't a level playing ground. It wasn't actually.
Okay.
And
We continue.
I
so
want
yes,
to, if people need to be thinking that, how come Jawara was the president for so many years?
yes, 30 years.
That's not normal.
And
No,
then it's
So
a democracy.
that's just one small point. You don't even need to go to the details. Just look at how long. What did he stay? 5 years, 2 terms, 4 years, 2 terms, and then go? No. So it's not democracy. Doesn't mean that people didn't get killed, but exile, yes.
Yeah.
But it should never have been like that.
Yeah,
And
because
so he was also
someone who-
cannot blame Jama on him, but he didn't educate his people from 1965 on how a democracy is supposed to work.
Yeah, absolutely. Jaune Mboj says political awareness in the Gambia was not Jammeh's creation. Jim Jangha Talibe Sharik saying happy birthday, thank you. Turin, other people are joining. Spice Jata says, you're speaking sense. To understand people like Khalifa, you need to be positively educated. Bai has joined us. Bai Kilimana Couture, Honorable Muhammad Al Amin Fofana. You people shut up. You cannot break it. You people don't anything about Gambia politics. Thank you, Muhammad. We like that. We like the negativity as well. It sort of
We are not Gambians.
We're not Gambians. We love the criticism as well. Keep it coming. Since Jammeh came to power, I know he was not good for our nation. Bai is saying that Gambia décidé, I think he's speaking French there, Gambia has decided. Farmer Mane High, Lamin Jammeh, our political awareness cannot be credited to Jammeh, but our determination to free ourselves from the shackles. Sambu Ture has joined, Omoti has joined. Omoti, greetings to you. True Khalifa was not understood by many, but also some of our intellectuals at the time were fighting the messages for whatever reason. Morikeba Koli, rubbish education system, rubbish hospital. He's not satisfied. No, he's not satisfied with Jammeh's. I've lost some of the comments again here. Osman Gunners. In this world, there's room for everyone. And good earth is rich, and a good earth is rich, and provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost this away. I'm gathering that Usman's trying to say that there's abundance in the earth. I think so, because he's a dead man. I believe he's referring to Jammeh there. Babu Sar, he's not a Gambian. We don't act like how he did. Believe me, he's a Gambian. Truly speaking, beautiful sisters. He doesn't care about anybody. I believe they're referring to Jammeh there. Sidi Rodriguez is saying, my dear sisters, we stand with you. We pray for a peaceful solution. Ya Rohi is also saying, Yaya Jammeh betrayed the whole nation. Omar Demba. So what's happening in the Gambia now? What's the present situation? They want an update.
Well, I haven't been online in 1 hour, so I don't have the latest news. But
basically, Jammeh has
I'm saying we like I'm a Gambian, but it's my second home. We've been without a president for nearly 14 hours.
I like we've been.
Yes. Which is a serious situation.
Yes. Jammeh is still defiant. Still on Gambian soil.
He's not. Yeah, but he's not the president anymore.
But he is. He believes he is.
Yes,
he's still
in
there.
his head. He is, but he's not. According
he's
to
a rebel.
Yeah.
Now we have a rebel occupying the state house.
Yes.
And an elected president somewhere in Senegal who will be sworn in at 4 o'clock today.
Yes.
That's the situation in
That's
Gambia.
the situation at the moment. You heard that? That's the situation at the moment. We have a rebel leader occupying State House.
Yeah.
Aisha Jawara, Gambia one love. We Gambia are tired of Yaya Jammeh must go. Hello from Barcelona, Spain, sending their greetings. Jammeh is nothing to Gambians. Is Gambia nothing to Gambians? This is a man in your State House. He is important to Gambia. The whole world is talking about Jammeh, so he's not a nobody.
Everything is about him at the moment.
Yes, so that makes him somebody.
I don't think it makes him somebody, but he thinks it makes him somebody.
He thinks it, but he's creating problems.
Making
still.
Negative attention.
Yeah. Says, let's not mind those people texting. These are the people eating our money. Oh, I'm not quite sure about that. Bacham, please, what is the present situation in the Gambia? I think that we gave that. Nene, can you discuss why we still don't know who are among Barrow's cabinet? Are you wanting a cabinet? Do you want to know who's in Barrow's cabinet, Turin?
We talked about
it. Wants to know.
We talked about this a little bit before we went on here.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's smart.
That the cabinet is not announced?
Yes. It's very smart because it will put the lives of the cabinet, these people, put them on risk. So it's very smart to keep that. It's not important because they cannot do anything right now anyway. But like we also discussed that he's going to announce a vice president. And the only reason for that is that I think it's by law, because if he dies tomorrow, people need to know who is in charge. So that's what we need right now. We need a president sworn in and a vice president.
Yeah. You think that's enough? Maimuna, is that enough? Because most people, when you win, you announce a cabinet, or are we being complacent as a Gambian and just accepting anything?
In
again?
as much as we want to know the cabinet, I think the coalition have been strategic, like Ture just said, because they know the reasons for not appointing one at the moment. And like I said in the beginning, they've been acting under very extreme circumstances. It's not a normal circumstance we are acting on. It's not a normal circumstance. They are operating under very extreme circumstances, and we are dealing with a not normal person. So everything has to be not normal. So that is why we are in this situation without a cabinet. And I think it's just strategic, and we have to be patient. And I know that maybe I'm convinced, and I think that by the end of the day, we would have at least a vice president name for the safety, because that is just what is normal.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. They're saying, Idrissa Jan is saying, we don't need Yaya. All shops and supermarkets are closed. That's again referring to the humanitarian crisis that we know is now a problem both in Senegal and the internally displaced people, those that cannot leave. They've left their homes but cannot reach Senegal as well. So we have a humanitarian crisis within the borders of Gambia and outside as well. Shops closed, no food.
Yeah,
Gambia is a ghost town at the moment.
Yeah, I saw this video from Banjul this morning, and I was on the bus on the way to a meeting, so I couldn't cry. If I had been home, I would have been crying. It was horrible. This was expected.
Was it?
For me, it was expected, and the problem is that some people, well, many people have got money so they can buy food and water and get everything they need. But there are poor people in the Gambia who don't have that possibility, and who is dependent on money they make every day. They live from hand to mouth day by day. So for them, this is it's a big crisis. And if it drags out, if this goes on until next week, that is going to be a serious problem.
Because we've been dealing with the humanitarian crisis at the border in Karam. And somebody mentioned yesterday that even in Casamas, there is another crisis there as well, because they're experiencing the same thing, people moving to the border with Casamas. And like Turin mentioned, I'm now trying to think about those people in Gambia who do not have money, who were used to, maybe you sell your groundnut, peanuts or whatever you sell, and then you buy from that, you buy food. And all that is not possible anymore. And we do not have, how do we follow this up? Do we know the conditions of these people? We don't even know what is happening. So the best thing would be that whatever would happen in the Gambia, that we pray that this condition, the situation comes to an end very fast.
Yeah, absolutely. We go to get a little bit of interaction with the audience as well, that is not just one-sided. Abdul Yusuf Toure says, naming of the cabinet could have caused undue distraction, taking cognizant of the composition of the coalition. His personal view. Sergeant Jai says it's a nice program. Bakri SB Tarawale is saying, welcome to the new Gambia. By Bach Samba Cham. When will Barrow return to Gambia after the inauguration in Senegal? Everybody is having a skeptical mind about the situation in the Gambia at the moment. The population concerned that their president-elect is not on Gambian soil. Is that a worry?
Well, he's by law is on Gambian soil if he's in the embassy in Dakar.
Yes, but
So but
apparently
I
that is not
understand.
enough. Yes.
Yeah, I think that he will not come back until Jammeh has gone.
You don't think he'll be escorted in with like the Top Gun style fighter planes and heavy military things like in Top Gun? That's what I'm imagining.
No, this is real life. This is not a movie.
Mission
Film.
Impossible.
This is not a movie.
No, it's not. And Tom Cruise is not starring
it's
in
not
this. It's
Mission
Jammeh. No.
This is real life and it's dangerous, and they need to take care of that he don't get killed, and they also need to take care. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
The whole situation. We are laughing now, but the whole situation is very, very dangerous.
Very serious.
And if there is to be a war, even though it's only called a war for a day or two in Gambia, that is really, really serious. Really serious. So they are trying to avoid it. People need to be patient.
Maimuna,
I just
the
want to comment
Gambians,
with
the
that.
Gambians want him on the Gambian soil.
They want him physically on Gambian soil. I want it too. Everyone wants it. Because now it's like the whole happiness is taken away by Jammeh again. Jammeh robbing us of our rights again
Yeah.
to the last minute.
But the whole coalition is there.
Yeah,
whole
but the whole
coalition
coalition is there. But let's remember that the whole Adama is only the president. And we lose Adama today, we don't have a president.
Yeah.
There will be no president. I think it's just strategic that he is not there today, in as much as we would want him to be on Gambian soil. It cannot happen. And then we have to be patient and then we have to trust the security on the ground and know that when these things happen, then they evaluate the security situation, and based on those evaluations, they take their decisions.
Yes.
That is what I believe. That is why we don't have him on Gambian soil today.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got Buba Jadam, I think Jammeh need to be grateful towards the Gambians. 22 years in power is enough. Nothing lasts forever. His time is up. It's up. Long live the Gambia. Long live the Gambia and her people. I mean, Laji Kanu, there are ECOWAS troops in the Gambia right now. They marched in with no resistance, according to Al Jazeera. I think it's wise enough not to name the cabinet for now, says Yusufa. Okafield Mukwa, I'm praying for Gambia and I hope that inauguration goes smooth without a hitch. Musa S. Sama, all Gambians are worried, but we should be patient and pray. I think Yaya should, says Musa S. Sama Bach. Jammeh intends to be good, but he's a very bad person. We don't need him, but it's the military who is backing him. Yes, Bachis Bar is saying that it's the military backing Jammeh. One lady called Maimuna C has just joined us. Musa S. Sama, resign please. Binta Toure is watching. Hi Binta, missing you. Barrow, we say. What is this Barrow we say thing? I didn't sort of get how it created Barrow we.
We Barrow is like...
What is it?
No,
I don't quite understand it.
That's what I was laughing at, because there was also somebody who didn't understand it.
No, I
Unless
don't
the person was
quite
Who
get it.
is we Barrow?